Hello, everyone. This is Nathan Chua again. I'm here from the Philippines. I'm broadcasting from Quezon City in Metro Manila. And for those of you who are new here, this is my vlog. And I'm actually just going to read to you a blog post that I recently wrote about a few days back. And this is sort of a bit related to the episode I had before this, but it's not part two. It's something that I thought would be interesting for most people who have been injured by an affair in a relationship. Okay. So, as you can see from the screen, the topic is: should you ask for the sexual details of an affair? By the way, if you want to know more about me and what I do, just visit my website, onelifeonly.net, and I'll be happy to welcome you there, and hopefully you can see something that's helpful to you in terms of the articles that I write, and also the kind of services that I provide. Okay. So now I wanted to sneak this in before I go on to part two of last time's the last episode that I uploaded on YouTube and also on Spotify, and the blog post that I posted on my website. All right. So this still has to do with the injured partner. Okay. And how things become very difficult for them after the discovery of an affair. Okay. So this is a very pressing question for a lot of couples because, for one thing, it's something that's very tempting for the injured partner to ask, and because it does have very strong repercussions to how secure the injured partner feels in this relationship, and it also has repercussions on the feeling of safety in this relationship, and by either party. All right, because the participating partner, the partner who had the affair, would also want this to end as soon as possible so they can move on to being the way they were before the affair happened. Okay, so this is just me reading from my blog, and hopefully you're gonna like it. All right, okay. So here goes. One of the most common questions that couples ask on their road to recovery from an affair is whether it is helpful for a hurt partner to inquire about the intimate details. This is quite expected and an understandable reaction. However, couples need to be sensitive to the results of such inquiries. It is not it is also not surprising to see the participating partner feel uncomfortable sharing sexual details about the affair. All right. So, for one, um, it's an understandable reaction from the injured partner. Uh, and on the other hand, the reaction of the participating partner is also understandable. All right. So, well, to answer that question, there are some experts who say that the best advice a therapist can give to a couple is to refrain from going into sexual details or graphic details about the affair. All right. So that's what some experts would say. Don't go into too many details. It's not going to help you. All right. Although this may sound like good advice to many and could probably work for a majority of couples, it has the potential to backfire. The thing that I like about the work of Doctors Andrew Christensen, Brian Doss, and Neil Jacobson is its focus on functional rather than formal rules of engagement between couples. Formal rules usually involve teaching couples to follow a rule based on what it says alone, with less consideration of the unique context or circumstances that surround each couple. It's just like following a rule just because. All right. So earlier, what I said about some experts saying that don't go there, don't ask too many questions about the graphic details. Well, that's a formal rule. It's not a functional rule because there's no reason to believe that that rule actually works for everyone unless you ask the couple, right? Okay. So functional rules are more sensitive to context as well as the consequences that occur when they are adapted by the couple. All right. So if you're following more functional rules, you're tracking functional rules, then you are more or less aware of the consequences of your action. All right. And what situations trigger those, let's say, responses that you have. All right. So a word about context. Okay. So when I say context, it doesn't mean the physical environment of the couple. Context can involve the very thoughts, feelings, and memories that each partner has going into the relationship, as well as within the relationship. So when we say context, it's not just the physical environment. Hindi lang yung sitwasyon nila base sa anong meron sila around them. All right? Uh, a context, like for instance, dahil nakatira kami sa magulang ng asawa ko, right? That's a context. That's a physical context. Siyempre, in those cases, there are possibilities that there will be conflict if you're living with relatives, all right, or in an extended family, then that's a physical context. But there's also the context of the thoughts, feelings, and memories that each partner has either outside the relationship. Now, before I met you, I had several other relationships that ended up busting because my partner was unfaithful. So that's a context. All right. So these are memories, thoughts, feelings about the past, or even within the relationship. Like, you did this before. Okay. This is not the first time you did it. So why should I trust you again? All right. So what mindfulness teaches us about this is that we learn to see things from each other's context or perspective. All right. So there's a lot of mindfulness involved in the approach that I use nowadays. All right. So hindi lang mindfulness is not just about being mindful of the present or being mindful of your feelings, your thoughts, but it's also being mindful of your partner's context or perspective, right? If you know that your partner has a sensitivity towards being betrayed because of your own history in this relationship or your partner's history with another relationship in the past, then that's being mindful. All right. This is rather hard to see when couples have narrowed their options to survival strategies like fight, flight, or fear freeze. All right. So when we say your behavioral repertoire becomes very narrow, that means you can't think of other options to take when situations happen. So if I kind of have this memory at the middle of the night that my partner had been unfaithful, and I just discovered it uh, a few months ago. All right. So the immediate reaction is to lalayas na lang ko, alis na ako, or gugulpihin ko ba to, or should I kind of wake him up and or her up or them up to uh, give them a piece of my mind, all right? Or should I just, stay in place and freeze and not move, all right? So, but for me to discuss that fight, flight, or freeze response, then that will take a whole blog post to discuss. So let me leave it at that. All right. So in therapy, I allow couples to engage in their conversations about an affair, but with a difference. The difference is to learn how to do them better. All right. How is it done when it comes to discussing sexual details? All right. These questions are obviously mostly going to come from the hurt partner. Again, I don't want to give formal rules about this, so please be sensitive to what works in your relationship and what doesn't. All right. If what you're doing helps you to move on in the healing and renewing process of your relationship, then go ahead and keep it up. All right. So, again, if I say this is a rule that you should not follow formal rules, then that becomes a formal rule, right? Okay. So, I don't want to do that. So, again, be sensitive to what goes on in your relationship. Okay. Okay. Formal rules can end up frustrating both partners. Couples the couple makes a turn for the worse when these questions are asked devoid of context from the injured partner. All right. When they turn into demands without reasons or just because the injured partner is angry and the participating partner must pay, conversations can become fraught with anger. All right. So usually the injured partner would do this with no reason, no particular reason at all that is mentioned in the relationship. Uh, they just say, well, you deserve this. You're going to have to suffer the consequences of what you did. Okay. At times, the injured partner can become rhetorical and sarcastic. Interrogation has become a way to make accusations. So uh, there's the interrogation that goes on regularly. And for most of us who have not learned what context sensitivity means, couples can go about doing what they're doing because sometimes they do end up getting what they want. All right. As human beings, we have a tendency to keep doing what we're doing, even if the success rates go down on our attempts to remove difficult thoughts and feelings. Minor short term successes can obscure the long term consequences. And for couples who have experienced infidelity, the injured partner believes the participating partner is responsible for removing these difficult thoughts and feelings. All right. S- you're to blame for all this. You have to get this off my chest. All right. This is an impossible task for anyone who's a human being, let alone a partner who is also experiencing difficult emotions like anxiety and fear about possibly losing the relationship and guilt about having had the affair. All right. So the injured partner can actually get rewarded sporadically when the participating partner grudgingly surrenders to the demand. That's why I have this picture for the slide. That's because that's an old game that's played, I think, back in the 80s or 90s. All right. So it's like a slot machine. Sometimes you win, right? So we keep doing the same motion, right? So it's like intermittent reinforcement. Okay. Unfortunately, such enduring surrendering or survival moves by the participating partner more often last for a short while before the pattern of giving in to keep the peace becomes unbearable. So, on the other hand, uh, the same principle applies to the participating partner. All right. Sometimes when he gives in, it works, but sometimes he keeps giving in. But the injured partner still keeps going and going and going, and eventually that person explodes in anger. All right. So again, it's a narrowing of the repertoire. It's either you flee or you hide, right, or you fight. Okay. So there's no other option for the partners. Okay. So thus, an explosion of pent up feelings occurs, and the couple escalates. So this is when things get really worse in the process of recovery. All right. The key here is for the injured partner to be more noticing of the softer emotions inside and able to enunciate them with less criticisms and accusations. Focusing on asking for information and telling the partner why that is important to know. All right. And then usually the questions involve some kind of insecurity or a wound that informs the participating partner that such questions come from images or memories of past sexual hurts or rejections. If these questions are out there in the open, all right, maybe the partner feels, I've felt this for months now. You have not been very affectionate to me. You were rejecting me uh, when I initiate intimacy and all that. All right. So that can be hidden, nakatago. It's hidden from what the participating partner feels. I mean, sees in their exchanges when they start talking about the affair. Uh, there could be very strong feelings of insecurity about the injured partner's attractiveness, right? These types of revelations are more likely to induce compassion rather than defensiveness or withdrawal from the participating partner and allow for a more compassionate response to happen. Okay? So if the injured partner is able to say what's behind the questions, how many times have you rejected me when I tried to be intimate with you at night? All right. When I tried to just cuddle with you. All right. I was so hurt. Something like that. All right. Because some of these interrogative questions or questions that accuse the partner really end up just getting the couple in a stuck loop of attack and defend, attack and defend. All right. So let me get back to what I mentioned earlier in this article. In the counseling room, we are not attempting to help you end your difficult conversations. We are there to help make better conversations because, like it or not, there will be conflicts in your relationships as your contexts change from situation to situation. So it's not just this situation, it will be other situations in the future. All right. And if you end up not talking about it, then you end up doing the same thing. You either fight, flight, you either do fight, flight, or freeze, right? So nothing really gets to have the couple connected with each other. Learning the skills to make better exchanges in conflict situations can mean that these conflicts lead you to a richer closeness rather than to rip you apart. Okay? All right. So that's how I do therapy. It's about learning a skill on how to talk to one another in a way that's very open and honest, rather than just seeing your partner as always angry, always asking questions, always making you feeling guilty, or rather than seeing your partner always withdrawing, always hiding, uh, or sometimes even getting mad for you asking so many questions. You know, that's the thing that we're trying to learn in therapy. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed today's little video presentation. And for those of you who'd rather listen to this is also going to be on Spotify. And for those of you who prefer to read, have something documented or something they can put in their pocket and try to go through once in a while, it's also posted on my website, onelifeonly.net. And for more information, you can just visit that website and you're welcome to give me a call. All right. So you take care now. Hope you enjoyed this one and have a great day ahead wherever you are. Okay. Bye bye.